Did you watch that movie, The Experiment?
What we will be doing here, for those of you that don't know, will be a behavioral experiment in which we will be simulating the conditions of life inside a state penitentiary.
There's also another movie, a remake that was filmed in 2015. That was the Stanford Prison Experiment.
All right, gentlemen, we're gonna have ourselves a lot of fun.
Rule number 1, prisoners must remain silent. This is an exercise period.
Okay, is it just me, or are these guys taking this thing a bit too seriously?
Why don't you give me 20 push-ups?
Look at this guy. Thinks he's John Wayne or something.
You address me as Mr. Correctional Officer.
This movie is actually based on a real story. So on this true story is, okay, I start at the beginning. They put people into a fake prison that all covered as an experiment, and all these people in the prison, so the guards and the prisoners, they were all students that got paid $15 a day. The experiment was supposed to take 2 weeks, and they started the experiment giving 50% of the people an officer's role, and the other 50% were the prisoners, without giving any more instructions. So the experiment started, and the first day passed by, and actually everything was pretty fine. After the second day already, they started that things kind of exploded. So the officers, they started to harass the prisoners, and this experiment went so over the top that they actually had to break it after 6 days, only after 6 days. It was supposed to go for 2 weeks. So that experiment should prove that where evil comes from. What is the source from evil?
Prisoner 819 did a bad thing. Prisoner 819 did a bad thing. Prisoner 819 did a bad thing.
And they wanted to eliminate the fact that it comes just from superior or subordinated roles in life. So those that are privileged to be in a superior role, just by using that role, just by perceiving themselves as superior to the others, that they start to harass them, that they start to do things to them just because they are in that role. And actually, this experiment kind of proved that evil is connected to roles. So maybe to a superior role, to an oppressing role. And it was actually a groundbreaking experiment. And since then, it's a case example of where evil comes from, as if we found it already. But then I read about this.
Plus, Zimbardo wasn't just a scientific observer. He actively participated and even encouraged violence and brutality, corrupting his data in the process.
So this is kind of interesting because this whole experiment was based on having no influence from the outside and no revealing that there was actually instruction given by somebody from the authorities from the experiment to one of the guards. That kind of changed my whole perception about this whole experiment. I think it's just not easy to explain evil just by having the role of a superior or subordinate. It might not change the whole experiment, but to know that there was an influence by one of the authorities. I mean, this guard could have talked to the other guards or could have been the role model so that all the others got also tougher. So I don't know, I think this whole experiment is questioned because of this. I just got this info today and I was just blown away and wanted to share that with you. So for today it's over. See you next time.